Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast, USA Championships Day 1 Recap Edition. I am Kevin. He is Gordon. We're recording from Gordon's house. Me on the first floor, Gordon up in the penthouse suite. Day 1. Gordon, how's it going? Uh-oh. We lost
I'm
Gordon.
back. I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry.
What was that? Was that for dramatic effect?
Yeah, I had
What
to
was
close
that?
my door. I had to close the door because I can hear you
Oh,
downstairs, and I
Oh, I
was
I
messing with
thought
my
something was
my
off with
brain.
my audio, so I stopped
No,
talking. I didn't do. Probably should have had like a funny one-liner in there about how Gordon was going to find something out of the fridge, and he will find nothing because there's nothing in Gordon's fridge right now, guys, except the 3 frozen pizzas I brought over. Actually, it's 4 at the beginning of the day. We ate one per day, 4 different brands. In any event, we're not going to talk about any of that. We're going to recap day 1 of U.S. champs. We'll talk a little Jamaican champs too, because those are going on right now. I see people in the chat already discussing the Jamaican championships. But night 1, Gordon, I guess we're going to start with these 10,000s and then run through everything. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, the 10,000 just ended. We were watching it as we were setting up this stream, and let's be honest. I feel like the result is not what we thought. We thought that there would be a Kincaid, Fisher, Klecker three-way battle. We all looked at Kincaid as the favorite in when it comes down to a kick. And that happened. But in the 10K, seeing Fisher fall apart to his teammate, Sean McGorty, I did not see that coming. Looking at these results, you see Kincaid takes the win, Klecker 2, McGorty 3, and Fisher 4, Chalimo 5. Let's talk a little bit about McGorty, man. This is his season debut. He hasn't run all year long. And he comes
Classic.
in and he beats Grant Fisher, who going into this year, you look at as a medal threat potentially in the 10K or the
Mm-hmm.
5K, and he beats his teammate who's been running, and he's not running. Yeah, he's the one that comes with the victor here over his teammate. Now, McGorty does not have the standard. So technically, as of right now, Fisher, Klecker, and Kincaid would go to Worlds, but McGorty has 3 weeks, basically. He has till the end of the month to run the world standard for him to qualify, which makes you think, is Fisher going to be like, yo, man, is he going to try to like sabotage his workouts to make sure he doesn't run as fast so Fisher can get in over his teammate McGorty? But man, McGorty, I did not see this coming. I ranked him low, thinking, hey, he's just there to show face, be like, yep, another year. He's not healthy or something. But clearly, he was doing something pretty good in training. And to come out here, you rarely make your season debut at a U.S. Championships and qualify. Like, that is not normal, especially in a distance event. How does he even know he's not? There's no rust buster for him. He has no idea like what it's going to take when they ratchet down the pace. It is just unreal what McGorty did. I know we're talking a lot about the third place, but we all looked at Klecker, Kincaid, and Fisher as the big three. Klecker getting second, that makes sense. Kincaid's kick was unreal. That makes sense. The whole thing is McGorty making top 3 after not running all year long.
So it's funny. When I had heard it was his season's debut, I said, that can't be right. He had to have run something. And then you go over to his World Athletics page, and then you see his photo at the top, and then you start scrolling down, you see all these races. You're like, wait a minute. He raced a bunch. There's some 1500s here, a 5, a bunch of 10,000s. And then you realize, oh no, that's 2022. Because there is no 2023 tab on Sean McGorty's World Athletics page, because it literally was his debut. This is a story about the last 2 laps. Fisher went for it. Fisher made, I thought, a move to win. And in doing so, ended up getting 4th because he knew, he's been out kicked by these guys before. I got to go early if I want to get the win. And then you look at what was left in that last lap. Fisher closes in 58, McGorty a 56, Klecker a 56, and Kincaid a 54. And Kincaid, he's never out of it. We know, even when he's behind, he's not really behind. He's just waiting. He's just being patient, and he's going to close. But I mean, I commend Fisher for making that move, for going for it. But once that gap closed and once Fisher went by and Klecker went by, it's like McGorty could smell blood in the water, and then he was just past Fisher. And then now Fisher's in this unfortunate situation where he's going to have to wait and see about how fast his teammate can run. Although he's entered in the 5 as well. So this could be a bit of a moot point in a few days. But you're right. We saw how fast he ran indoors, saw how well he placed worlds. This was someone who was climbing the ladder and now
Yeah.
not even in the top three.
And Kincaid, let's talk a little bit about Kincaid though. That kick, 54 seconds, made it look very easy. I mean, Kincaid has a gold medal, a Olympic caliber, world championship gold medal caliber kick. The thing is, Kincaid typically is in like 12th place with the lap to go and not in 5th or 4th.
Mhm.
If Kincaid can find a way to be in the mix with the lap to go, I would take his kick over any of the top. I mean, I would take his kick over Ingebrigtsen in a 5K. Now, Ingebrigtsen would never
Hold on,
allow,
hold on. I'm gonna pump
dude.
the brakes on that one. You have a long way to go from has an awesome kick and can outkick US guys in a 10K to we're out kicking Ingebrigtsen. Come on.
Okay, but do you think in an open 400, who do you think?
That's not what this is. He has a strong kick. You're right, and he's usually in world settings he's too far back to
Yeah,
use it, and sometimes in US settings we think he's too far back to use it, but he's never too far back. But yeah, the equation is clear. If he's a little bit, if he's lingering, if he's only a second or two back at the bell, then yeah, absolutely, he's got a shot.
yeah. I wish there was live betting for world championships because his odds for medaling when he's at like 10th place with the lap to go are gonna be really good, and you could be like, boom, hammer, Kincaid to kick to get to third. But
I wish we
big
had
run for
live betting
Kincaid.
on insane takes from you, live bets on that, because we are how far into this show? Like 5 minutes, and you already said he's
I don't know,
beating
man.
Jakob in a 5K.
You
That's
just
pretty bold. That's pretty
you
bold.
give Kincaid, you put Kincaid in a perfect situation, he will outkick anyone. We just have never seen it because he's never in that perfect situation. He's always in the 12th, 10th last place situation. So I'm just saying,
Let's talk about the women's 10. Let's go to the women's 10.
okay.
Another really strong close by Elise Cranny in this race. She gets past Alicia Monson, and in a way, a little bit similar to the men's race. Now, the move that Fisher made was pretty pronounced, whereas Monson took the lead with 4 to go and then was ratcheting up the pace. But I think going into things, we thought Monson would get the win and it wouldn't be Cranny, but it was Cranny who closed in 62 seconds, they said on the broadcast. I mean, that's an incredible close for her. Monson was fine. She got second, 32-17 to Cranny's 32-12. And then Rogers in third, Kaladi fourth. Schweizer, who we had not seen much from or heard much from, she gets fifth. She'll wait and see because she is the third woman across the line with the standard.
Yeah, Schweizer had the race that I thought McGorty would have. You know, where you haven't run much, you're coming into this place, kind of see what happens, to see where your legs take you. But you also
Yeah.
have an incredible talent. And Schweizer on a bad day is still top 8 in the country. She still is able to hold on here for a 5th place finish. It's going to have to wait to see if Rogers or Kaladi get the standard. So it's going to be interesting standard watch for Rogers and Kaladi because the 10K standard is very hard. There's a reason only
Exactly.
3 women have it. It is, you got to be in a perfectly paced race. They make it really hard because it's the 10K at Worlds is a straight final, so they don't want the field to be too big, so they make the standard very hard. So Kaladi and Rogers are going to have some work to do to potentially bump Schweizer out. But, you know, I was kind of surprised with Cranny. She didn't run much. She ran like a 15-teen 5K in May. She ran at Brian Clay in like a 4:07 for the win. But Cranny, it looked like a different Cranny. It looked like the best Cranny that we've ever seen. In my like the separation she put on Monson.
Mm-hmm.
Monson is, let's remember, Monson had a fire indoor.
Mm-hmm.
Monson held her own in some diamond leagues. Even at the end of last year, she was like, "Whoa, yeah, Monson's making that leap into
Yeah.
top 8 status in the world." And Cranny just put on a clinic. And you gotta like where Cranny's at. She's under raced, comes in USA's, wins his 10K. She's probably now going to be the favorite in the 5K, I think, after seeing this, even against Josette Andrews. Cranny's timing her season pretty well because now she's going to be a lot more fresh, and maybe we could have another U.S. woman sneak onto the podium at the World Championships, like the other feud that we've had. Because it's
Oh, you're
weird.
talking about the
We
10.
don't
Yeah, you're talking about
the
the 10.
10,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
We don't see it in the women's 5K, but in the women's
Haven't had the
10K,
5 yet. Yeah.
We can see some U.S. Infill did it. Winger, not Winger, Kara Winger. We're listening to Kara Winger on the podcast. Goucher did it. So
Hmm. Flanagan, yeah.
Flanagan. It'll be exciting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I thought Cranny just ran with such confidence, and you never know. A lot of these distance athletes, they're not running a ton. Once they become pros, you have nothing to measure them against, and then boom, all of a sudden they're great. I don't think Monson's too far off where she was before, if she's off at all. And I think it just speaks more to the overall strength of the U.S. team that she could run that well and get second. But yeah, we'll see. And then Rogers will have to get the standard. You're right. This is not the men's 1500-meter standard in 2013, where you just fly around to enough small meets in Europe and then you can get eighth and run your time. These 10,000-meter standards for the men and the women are really fast and really hard. And there's not many 10,000-meter races. I guess they could try now to put some together. And there's now some athletes who would be willing to hop in those races, you'd hope. But yeah, we can't assume that they're just going to go get the standard in either the men's or the women's 10,000.
And also, it's not even just about some of the other events have the opportunity to chase a world ranking where, like, hey, just run a fast time in a high
Right,
quality
right.
meet. You can get that. But the world ranking system for the 10K is all screwed up because half the field are taken by
Cross.
cross country runners.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't, there's no really world ranking path for Rogers or for Kaladi or for McGordy. So it's going to be, you got to run the time, and the time is
Mhm.
fast. So
Next up, let's go to the short distances here. Let's go to the sprints. Let's go women's 100. How about this for an opener, Gordon, from Sha'Carri Richardson? She goes 10.71 in the first heat. That's the fastest wind legal time she's ever run. She gets the world lead, equals the meet record, and just did it in emphatic fashion. Great start, solid all the way through. Huge victory, wins by 2/10 in that first heat. Took care of business. I mean, there's nothing really more you can say other than we're all just eagerly anticipating what's going to happen tomorrow in the semis and the finals in that women's 100.
yeah, it did not look like a reach of a 10.71. It looked like a chill 10.71, which makes you think when everything's on the line and when there's even more opportunity to go to the well, that she can flirt with the 10.6s, win legal 10.6s. And maybe, who knows, 10.5 or something. I don't know. It's crazy. But I don't want to say that right now. But she's definitely, I think, erased or like quelled the like demons of last year at USA's. Remember, last year, she got knocked out in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
First round. And then this year, she's running meet record, world lead, PB, 10.71, top tier time all time,
Yeah.
and looks so like it's so wild to even think that this is the same athlete. That athlete who can just like bomb at USA's 365 days ago can come back and just be the locked in Sha'Carri that when she's locked in, she's going to be hard to beat. And I know there's always the back and forth between the Jamaican contingent and, they have had Richardson's number. I think even Sha'Carri would admit that. They've had her number the past 2-3 years. But this year, it's going to be really hard to hold on to that number because Sha'Carri has yet to have a bad race. She had that one weird 200 where she lost
Yeah.
to Kayla White. Remember that?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy that happened this year? So you got to look at, she has been consistent. She's been locked in. And I think it's safe to say that, yes, Toulouse out there. Yes, Alfred. But Sha'Carri run 10.71, man, in the prelim. Again, she has to put together. She still has to show up at the semis and the finals tomorrow. But the odds are becoming more and more in her favor that she is in line to have like a peak type season for her career, her young career. I think that she's on pace. She's not going backwards. She's going forward. And I mean, I think we're going to see 10.6 tomorrow. And then if she goes into Worlds with a 10.6 PB, and then now you have the Toulouse and the Jamaican contingent and Alfred now on the starting line with her. that might push her
Mhm.
to something even faster. But she has to do it first. Can't put the cart
Yeah,
before the horse. Last
right.
time,
And
the team, yeah. So,
yeah, no, I was just going to add that I think this makes her the big favorite for tomorrow. Heat two of the first round tonight, Jefferson and Hobbs, 11-10 and 11-11, but that was into a 1.2. They both looked really comfortable. Hobbs is the other one who's been undefeated this year, and we have her ranked number two. But it's not always, oh, they ran this in the first round and then they're going to improve by a whole bunch in the semis and then improve again in the final. I'm reminded of Fred Curley last year at Worlds. I know you remember that very well.
oh yeah.
He ran fast in the first round. And then people asked him why. Do you remember what he said?
He wants people going to bed at night thinking about that time.
Yeah, he wanted to put the 9-7 in their head. So if that was her goal, she succeeded. But I think more it's just what you mentioned, being locked in, being so focused and not having whatever happened in the past impact her. Again, the start looked good. The whole race just looked real smooth. I mean, that's the word I would use to describe it. So I don't know in terms of time what it's going to be, but the whole mission is just to qualify, win this week, and then move forward, take another step to Budapest. Time, that's icing on the cake. I think the real objective is just, hey, let's just get out of here, qualify, and then be able to take on the rest of the world. And she's put herself in a good spot. And it looks like the Richardson we've seen all season, right? There's other than that one race, which is a 200, not 100. This is who she's been the entire season. She's winning by big margins and she's running fast times.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Knock on wood, or cardboard, or what's wood here? Like the only thing that will, I think, stop Shakira right now is a false start. Like
Yeah, don't say
we've
that
seen,
though. We don't want. No one wants false starts.
well, I knocked on the wood, man. This
Oh,
little
okay.
little
So
wood at
you're
the
good. All
bottom,
right.
we're good. We knocked on the
Okay.
wood, so it's all good. But yeah, I think that's the only thing that can really stop this. There's definitely, I mean, we looked at Hobbs. Hobbs was the consistent runner going into this race, but I don't see Hobbs, even as how good she is, and she has some solid PBs to her name. I don't think Hobbs is really going to challenge Shakari tomorrow. I mean, I just don't see it.
We'll see. I would also be surprised though if the margin is large. I think Hobbs is going to show up. I think that's what she
Yeah,
does. I think
but
I think Hobbs knows how to work these rounds as well too. But you're
true.
right. Richardson is a favorite. We had her as the favorite going in. Nothing's changed. A couple other interesting results in the women's 100 first round. Mia Bray Pedersen, who's a high schooler from Oregon who just signed the NIL deal with Nike. She ran 11.05 seconds. That's pretty good. Not to be outdone, another high schooler in Heat 4, Shanti Jackson, runs 11.05 seconds. So you're going to have those two in the semis, along with Tamari Davis, Tamara Clark, Tonisha Terry. We mentioned Jefferson Hobbs. Brittany Brown ran 10.9. This is going to be an exciting semis. Forget the finals. The semis are going to be exciting.
Yeah, and crazy things happen. We'll talk about some of these other results where people who we look into it are, there's no way they don't make the next round, or we saw a false start at the Jamaican trials. We saw a big guy go down in the men's 15, which we'll talk about later. But that's why they run the race. Even when there's a bunch of stars, there's always a situation where you didn't think this person
Well,
would not be there, and then they're not. So one of these top
yeah.
girls could not, one of these top women could not make the final.
Do you want to talk about the Jamaican trials now, or do you want to wait?
We'll wait.
Okay.
We'll drive through the U.S. results and with
All
Jamaica.
right. Men's 100. Only one man broke 10 seconds, and it was Christian Coleman. 9.95 seconds, Heat 4. He gets the win. There were some surprises in these other heats. JT Smith won Heat 1. He beat Bromell. Bromell looked to be a bit injured after. I haven't watched the interview yet to get his post-race feelings. But Michael Norman didn't qualify out of Heat 1. Heat 2, PJ Austin won it. Heat 3, Charleston, Lyles, Carnes, and then Amir Willis. And then that aforementioned Heat 4 had Marvin Bracey Williams pull up with something, not sure what it was, if it was a cramp or something more severe, and he crossed the line in 8th. So top line, if you're looking at this, Coleman gets through, Lyles gets through, Bromell gets through. The top collegians that we had been talking about going in Courtney Lindsay, PJ Austin, Demarcus Fleming, they all get through. The wild card in Cravant Charleston is through, but there's also some names that we didn't expect to be in such a good position that are in there, like JT Smith.
The second and third fastest man in the world last year, based on finishing at Worlds, Bromell and Bracy. It's just weird, like how just 1 year later they go from two of the top three guys to now one getting hurt in this prelim, and then Bromell not looking like, kind of with the weird ankle tweak at the finish line. It shows that anything can happen, and that while we looked at the U.S. depth and be like, there's so many guys. I remember you used to say this on the podcast. You would just like list off 8 different guys of like this one, Curly, Norman, Noah, Coleman, Bromell, Bracy. You just kept on going on, and then you realize, well, injuries happen and weird things happen in races, and that's what's happened to Bracy and Bromell. We'll see. Bromell still on the edge there. He has the 5th qualifying time though, so it's not the end of the world for Bromell. But for Bracy to go out like that, I was kind of surprised. I thought Bracy had a chance to kind of show consistency and get back on the team, or at least even get back on the relay. But for Bracy not to make it is kind of a surprise.
Well, you just hope there's full health, full recovery for those guys, right?
Yeah.
Like because that's unfortunate. And yeah, I was talking about the depth all season. I was like, we can put together an 8-person amazing U.S. final. And contingent on that was Curly running. And you're like, well,
True.
Curly's probably not going to run. He has the bye. And I said, all right, cool. It's still going to be 7 guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be Lyles. It's going to be Coleman. It's going to be Bracy. It's going to be Bromell. It's going to be Baker. It's going to be Bednarik. It's going to be Norman. And then there's Makai Williams and all this other stuff. And you just see some years it all comes together and some years it all comes apart. And this is one of the years where it's coming more apart. I was curious about Lyles because, yeah, he has the amazing last 50. He seemed farther back than he normally is. And I wonder in the final or semis if he's just going to run out of real estate. Now, Charleston's really good, and Charleston is a threat to make the team. And he ran 10:01. And if you're just going through based on time, which I know is tricky, Lyles only had what did he have in terms of time here? What is he ranking in terms of the 6th best time? But I just thought he was pretty far back, 50 meters in, to the point where I was starting to have a few doubts that he'd be able to claw back, but he did.
My pick of the team being Coleman, Charleston, and Lyles is looking pretty good right now. Pat myself on the back.
Well done. That was great. That's what I was hoping for with that.
I got a couple things right. My broken clock was right a couple times, but also extremely wrong a few other times.
I was hoping that we'd turn this into, did Gordon get the prediction right? I was wrong. I had Bracy going to Budapest, making the team, because he had run this year. He had run a bunch of times. He had run some good times, but bad luck for him to catch that injury at this point in the season. Let's go 400, women's 400. We thought, hey, this is going to come down to 2. It's pretty clear it's coming down to 2. This was a great example of the dominance of Sydney and also the dominance of Britton Wilson. Britton Wilson went first. She had Lena Irby Jackson to her inside, so she had someone there, and I think that kept her going more to the finish. I was watching with you. You were like, slow down, slow down, slow down. Save your energy, save your energy. She could not hear you from a couple thousand miles away, but I still don't think she went all the way to the well. She ran 50:08. Sydney, in her heat, the runner-up in her heat was 51:07, so farther back, and she ran a very comfortable 49.79. This reminded me of her 4-meter hurdle opening heats with the huge gap, and you're just wondering, how much can she physically slow down and still win this race in the last 50 meters because she's that far ahead? I think about her PR being 49:51 and the idea of, okay, can she get under 49? And you watch how easy that 49.79 was. And it's always hard to estimate effort. We're always like, oh yeah, they can go way faster. They slowed it down. But this looks so easy for her. This was her best 400 of the year, I thought, even though it was slower than some of the others.
So we think she's running the semis and the final?
Yes, I think she is. I think she's running.
Okay. Yeah.
What'd you think of the
Well,
race, though? Or the race is, the 400s?
I thought there was clear separation between Wilson and Sydney versus the rest of the field. I made a joke when we watch that final in 2 or 3 days, whenever the final is. They're gonna have to do like a 2 camera shoot. They're gonna have to do like picture in picture because the separation of Wilson and McLaughlin is gonna be so much compared to the rest of the 3rd through 8th place women. You're gonna need picture in picture because it's really a 2 woman race versus everyone fighting for third. And I think the third, obviously, Irby Jackson running the third fastest time here. You look at her, maybe she's a favorite, but Diggs is still going to be in the mix. Dunmore, there's going to be other women who are going to find a way to get into that top 3. But really, it's Wilson, McLaughlin. I don't think Wilson is going to challenge McLaughlin. McLaughlin just looks so like, I don't know, just doesn't show really weakness. She looks like she's just like she's like sleepwalking through this because she's so much better that she's just trying to like take it easy, show up, run around the track, go to bed because she's just at a different level. It's like LeBron James when he is playing the Indiana Pacers on a December weekend. He's like, you just show up, you put up 30 points, get the win by 20. Sydney, when it goes to running against the other top U.S. women, you show up, you run your 49 seconds, eat yourself a Cliff Bar. And I think that's what Sydney does.
Mm-hmm. All right. Gordon broke it down there for everybody. I would say let's do predictions for that one, but we have another round to go.
You have another round, yeah. I am predicting 16-1. I wait till top 8 are there.
Well, I know. It's just different than it's a short meet in terms of the amount of days. Like it's not a 10-day meet. It's like a 4-day meet, but they're still going to jam 3 rounds in there. It's tricky. Yeah. Where are we going
next?
About
men's 15.
Men's 15, one of the most anticipated events of the meet. For me, I just thought it's going to be difficult to get all these talented. Like there's just someone's going to be left off this team, right? This men's 1500 field this year for the United States was so good that someone really good was not going to make it to Budapest. Turns out someone's not even going to make it to the final. We had Cooper Tier go out in the first round, Gordon.
Yeah, so Tom, if you want to scroll down all the way to the bottom of that results page.
Shout out to Producer Tom, by the way.
Yeah, Producer Tom, all the way to the bottom. Keep going. We can see all 3 results from the bottom heats, all the way to the bottom. There we go. So we see heat 1, 2, and 3. So let's focus on heat 3 here. Let's actually go in order. Let's look at heat 1. Heat 1, man, Centrowitz got lucky.
He didn't get lucky. Stop.
He did. He must have paid on Athletics Club something, or you gave Dathan Ritzenheim a little bit of like some.
That's how Yared runs.
Starbucks gift cards or something. Because
that's how Yared runs.
I know how Yared runs.
The hard heat. No, listen. No. Stop. Was that the death heat? That was the heat of death, was it not?
It was the heat of death. But
it's appropriate that they got all the time qualifiers.
No, because hold on. No. Because if you would have put Yared Nuguse in the heat 2 and put Hobbs Kessler in heat 1, you would still call heat 1 the death heat, but only 3 men would have probably come out of that heat. He got lucky because in the death heat happened to be Nuguse, and Nuguse made it honest and basically extended Centro's postseason by 1 more, or I guess by 48 hours.
I don't think, but that's we don't have a system. We have big Qs and little Qs still. We're not.
No, I'm not.
Big Qs. And I think
I'm not calling for.
That's a tough heat.
It's wrong.
Yeah, it was a tough heat to get through, and he. But the other people could have run faster. That's all I'm saying. That was the first heat. Am I right? That was the first heat. That was the first heat. Correct. So the other 2 heats knew what it took to qualify on time, and what did they decide to do? Go out slow.
They decided to lollygag.
Exactly.
I guess heat 3 attempted to do it because Matt Strangio went for it in heat 3, but Central
but most of those guys can run 337 is my point.
Yeah.
They're capable of running 337. They didn't do it. They could have. They didn't.
So the big news, though, coming out of this was heat 3. Cooper Tier, who I had as the U.S. favorite, gets 4th in the 3rd heat. loses by what, 0.04. I don't think I mean, it was a weird ending where it was Tier, Win, and Hawker looked like those were going to be the three, but then Drew Hunter kind of
Yeah.
surprises Tier on his inside. Tier then realizes, tries to go even wider to get around, Win, but it was too little too late. And Hunter just grinded his way onto the starting line for this final. And he took down a guy who I think could have won the final. I think Tier is good enough to win a final. I know you got fourth tier. How can you win a final if you get fourth in a prelim? Things happen. 1500's weird where positioning is everything and weird things happen. But I was shocked that Cooper Tier did not make it. It screws up the 5K now. I'm sure Abdi Nur, Paul Chalimo are now like, God dang it. I got to go up against these 10K guys, and now I got to go up against Cooper Tier in a mix. So Drew Hunter made a lot of enemies in the 5K field by knocking out
Wow.
Cooper Tier.
No, that was a great run from Drew
It was
Hunter.
great. Don't get me wrong. It was great. Yes, for sure.
He's had a frustrating run of it.
Yeah.
All the hype, all the expectations. So to get through there, I thought was huge for him. It was a little strange. If you watch the replay, Tier is directly behind Hawker and moves out a little bit. I don't even think it was to go by Hawker, but just to have a little bit of room so he didn't collide. And that movement to the outside gave Hunter more space on the inside so he could move through. And I don't know if that was just a subconscious thing that happened, or if he was planning on going that way anyway. But when I was watching that replay, I thought this like if Tier had stayed to the inside, and this stuff is impossible to hindsight's always 2020, especially in a tactical mid-distance race. But if he were to stay on the inside, it would have been awfully difficult for Hunter to get around him. But he did leave a little crack open, and then that crack became a much bigger hole, and he just went right through. And Cooper was to the outside, and it just was maybe caught him by surprise even. So surprised he's not there. We still have a lot of big names in this final, though, Gordon.
Oh,
I mean, this is still going to be a real incredible. I mean, this is going to be an awesome race. I expect Nagus to take it hard from the gun. You got him, Wascom, Gregoric, Thompson, Green, Centro, Hawker, Hunter, Wynn, Prakel, Kessler, and Holt. How do you think this race plays out?
I think it's going to be honest. I think it's going to be like a 3:35 race. I think Nagus is going to just be like, this is what I do. I don't think Nagus is going to change up the plan. I think he's going to make it honest. It'll be 3:35.
Oh, you say 3:35 is okay? So you think 3:35 is fast? I think it's going to go faster than 3:35.
Oh,
I don't.
Well, I look at 3:35 as like honest, and then everything else is like 3:37 to 3:40s or whatever. 3:35 to me is like an honest 1500.
Okay. Well, maybe in the olden days, it was an honest 1500.
Yeah, I mean, only one
We're
guy ran
faster
3:35.
now.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't think they're. You think they're gonna run 3:32s and stuff and 3:33s?
I think Nagus is going to run 3:32. Yes, I do.
Maybe. Actually, I can see that. I do think that Nagus is going to win. Who do you think gets second and third? I think we both agree Nagus is going to win this final.
I think Nagus is going to win. I didn't like your rankings, although I'm not going to talk about that because it just seems like I'm piling on after the fact. I'm not going to do that.
It makes sense, in my opinion.
I don't want to overreact to these results. Wait, who did I have in the draft?
Oh, so the draft, I drafted
draft,
Tier. I drafted Tier. Then you drafted Nagus. Then I drafted Kessler. Then you drafted Hawker. And then I drafted Isaac Baston, who got last in his heat. And then you got Gregoric.
Okay, so I'm going to stick with my team.
You don't think Gregoric's going to make the team?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get a Nagus, Gregoric, Hawker team.
I think it's going to be Nagus, Kessler, Hawker. I think just go with the guys with the fastest times. Keep it simple. Don't overthink
Hawker's got a little bit of Woody Kincaid in him. Of this thing looks over, he looks too far back, and then you feel silly doubting him.
I'd say it would be fun though if like the top three is Wascom, Green, and Prakel, and just is like,
Andy Powell party.
Andy Powell party just sweeps the U.S. final, and then Central gets fourth or something. That'll be
I
wild.
like that Centro's in there. I like that he's in
Yeah,
there.
it'll be cool. Yeah, he
That's
got
cool.
lucky, but
And Engels
it's good that
almost
he's in.
got in.
Angles, yeah.
Engels just missed it by one spot.
All right.
Next up,
Don't talk about
uh,
what
you want to do lightning round?
lightning round. Just looking at the remaining results. Obviously, everything happens. The decathlon. Harrison Williams currently in the lead. We'll wait. Well, Kyle Garland's in fourth, representing Philly John. Well, Kyle Garland in fourth.
Oh, that you just wanted to show the shirt. That's it.
No,
Show the
I
shirt
mean,
again. Show the
I
shirt
did.
so people
I
can see it
showed the shirt.
for a
What are
long
you doing?
time though. You gotta stay
Yeah.
on it. There you go.
You trying to get a screenshot? You trying to get a screenshot? All right.
No,
Uh,
I was like, why is he going to the decathlon? And then now I realize why you were talking about the
yeah.
decathlon first.
Heptathlon day one, Anna Hall in the lead. Men's 8 and women's 8, nothing much happened. I guess the biggest news was Brandon Miller didn't qualify, which was kind of. Oh no, he did qualify. He qualified
He
on
did qualify.
time, so he
Yeah.
did. But as he was close to not making it.
Mm-hmm.
Crane Carosa didn't make it through, which I thought was interesting. He had a pretty good, a long NCAA season. Women's 8, everyone that shouldn't got through. Nothing crazy there. Men's 400. Christopher Bailey had the fastest time from Arkansas. I think the one that I'm watching here, I think we're all watching, is how will Matthew Bowling do? He gets in, runs a PB 45:53, which is kind of wild. That's his PB because he's split 44 seconds many times in 4x4s. But Bowling gets in, all the other top guys get through. And then we had a few champions crowned. Men's discus throw, Sam Mattis got the win. Turner Washington and Brian Williams were second and third. We're just doing rapid fire. Women's triple jump, Tori Franklin, Couture Orgy, Jasmine Moore, the big three, they all get through. That's the order. And then women's javelin throw, Maddie Harris from Nebraska, collegiate,
Yeah. Yeah.
beats Maggie Malone for the win. Again, all these athletes have a chance to chase. So if they don't have the standard, they can chase until end of the month. Steeplechase, you know what? We need to not even talk about the steeplechase because it's stupid that they do prelims. The fact that someone can run basically 20 seconds slower than the fastest time and still qualify is ridiculous. They should just be straight final for the steeple. What are we doing here? Both
Well, I thought
men's.
one interesting. Hold on, the women. I thought one we hadn't seen Frericks. She's a silver
True.
medalist, so I think, and she had to qualify on time. 9:47 was so she got in to the final, but obviously quite a ways from where we've seen her
Yeah.
before. But um,
Men's
women's 15.
steeple. Yeah, women's 15
Wow.
is the only other big thing that happened. And a thing Mo looked pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was interesting. I thought, man, is she gonna make a run for it and just like close down on McGee and Wiley? But she didn't. She still ran 4:10. I hope we get to see her again. Not sure if we're going to. Um, Johnson, McLean, Schlachterhalf, all the time qualifiers were from Heat 2, which was won by Johnson, McLean, and then Hiltz, Mackay, and Jones made it out of 3. But that was mostly chalk. There weren't really any upsets that I see in here.
Yeah, no, that was mostly chalk. Heather McLean running well was a surprise.
Yeah,
She's
we hadn't seen her
similar
win it.
to McGordy and a few other athletes who kind of starting their season extremely late, literally at USA's. So Heather McLean looking good in her heat. I mean, Addie Wiley and Corey McGee, they duked it out for no reason, which I thought was interesting. It was like top 3 qualified. You guys are sprinting. Like, it's about like, you do realize lane assignments in a 1500 final doesn't mean anything.
I like the phrase "duking it out for no reason."
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Jamaica trials.
I don't know. Do you think people are interested in talking about Jamaican sprinting in our audience?
I think they
Do
are.
we have anybody in the chat who really wants to?
Well, we purposely put it at the end of the podcast to get
kidding.
people to keep listening.
I'm just kidding. We're going to talk about the Jamaican championships, which I remember saying this last year, the year before. It's great that they're the same time as the U.S. championships, And I know the World Athletics gives like windows that you can do your national championships so they don't overlap. But I don't know. I want to be able to enjoy them like a separate thing. Right? I want to be able to sit down and watch and appreciate it and not have them go head to head. But in any event, what were the highlights, Gordon, from the first day of the Jamaican Championships?
The highlights. So I think let's talk about the 100 because they had the first round for the 100. Starting with the women, I have the result here. Sharika Jackson runs 10:99. Elaine Thompson-Raw runs 11:12. So Elaine Thompson-Raw, who, as we remember a few weeks ago or a week ago, ran that weird, very slow 100-meter dash at a small meet.
Mm-hmm.
She wins her heat here, but she still only runs 11:12. I don't know. It's not giving me confidence yet that Elaine Thompson-Herah is ready to be in the medal tier. Now, things may change. She may be timing it perfectly. She did win her heat. She did
Yeah.
beat, Ashanti Moore. She did beat Kemba Nelson. But I don't know, man. 11:12, where, Shrika Jackson is cruising to a 10:99, where Natasha Morrison's running 11 flat. Alana Reed, an 18-year-old, is running 11:14. I don't know. What do you think? So you think Elaine Thompson-Herah is going to put it together and make the team? I think she can make the team. I don't
I
know.
thought that was a good result. I don't know what you're talking about. I thought that was a good result based on what we've seen so far, and she's still coming back into form. What's your friend Carl Lewis say? What's his saying? Win the heat. Win the
Win the meet. Win the meet. Win the
exactly.
heat. Win
You
the
just gotta
meet.
win.
Yeah.
Just
No.
gotta win your heats. Just gotta win your
Yeah.
heats.
I don't know. I just feel like when you win the heat in a slow time, I don't know, like
It's fine. It's
someone
fine.
at her
Listen,
caliber, like
yeah,
if
but we
if
already knew
Noah
that. We already knew
Lyles,
that this year wasn't going well. We already knew this year wasn't the same year. This is nothing new, but based on her last result, I thought this was better. And now you're able to compare it to her competition. Okay, she needs to get top 3 in this field. I'm looking at this field. I think she can do it. Sharika obviously is a class above. You said 10-9 and then you just like breeze past it. That was a 10-9, not just like not going all out. That was 10-9, like leaning backwards on the brake the last few meters. She can go much faster. No surprise there. I like the way Sharika ran that. She was trying to go as slow as possible over those last 20 meters, and I appreciated it. So I think Sharika is going to win it. Sharika looks great, but I think Elaine can get on the team, and then you're giving the veteran, the experienced runner another couple weeks to train and get into good shape. I think people should be more optimistic based on this result.
you know what? You may be in real time just like fact checking me and making me kind of but eat my words. So
Yeah,
I may have overreacted.
that'd be a first.
I may have overreacted. I still think
What
I just think that Elaine Thompson Ross seeing 11:1 is just weird. I want to see 11:0 or faster. So
I
I don't
agree.
know.
Hey, we don't have to wait long. This time tomorrow, in
Yes,
these
she
very
can.
seats, we will talk
This
about it.
podcast will be extremely old.
Yeah,
Imagine like
but
listening
we'll
to this
remember.
podcast on like Sunday and be
Mm-hmm.
like, wait, what are they talking about? This means nothing. Like, why are
Yeah,
they talking about? Yeah, it would be weird.
listen to this one quickly. That's why you got to
Or
do two
listen
X.
listen in reverse order. Maybe that'll be fun. That'll be wild and be
Mm.
like, watch me get wronger and wronger over time.
Well, first, let's start with your use of the word wronger,
What?
and then go
What?
from
What's
there.
what's more wrong? Is it more wrong? Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's keep
Wronger
going.
sounds more wronger. Wronger, wrongest. No? Wrongest is a
What?
word. Is wrongest not a word? Wrongest is a word. Hold on. Wrong. I'm Googling this. Wrongest.
Oh, this is funny.
Wrongest. Yet. Is wrongest grammatically correct? The single word comparative and superlative forms wronger and wrongest are no longer in common use, except
Mm.
humorously.
That's you. You were being funny.
I was being humorous. But they said is no longer in common use.
Yeah,
That means
you're
it
a
used to
man of a.
be.
Yeah, you belong in the different centuries. I think people know
Hey,
that
I
already,
see
Gordon.
people using it. It's old English. You know? Old English. Wrongest is a word. I don't know.
You've woken up the chat. Uh,
What is the chat saying? Do they agree?
Lambo says
Longer or
"wronger" is
longest?
not a word.
MR says
Oh,
deaf is a word.
and it was
It wasn't
in
Wordle.
Wordle.
Wordle. Yeah.
Wordle.
So
Yeah.
wronger. Wronger and wrongest.
Cryptic says Gordon is on something tonight. Well, if he's been on something tonight, he's on something every first single day I've known him. Let me just tell you that. Let me just stop you there. Okay. What else though at the Jamaican trials? I know Johan Blake false started, but let's talk about the men's 100,
You
shall we?
can't just skip over that. Johan Blake false started. That's a big deal,
Yeah,
man.
well, that's part of the men's 100.
Yeah. Uh, that changes the whole like view of who's going to make the Jamaican team, right? Because you look at Blake as as like the consistent guy. He's going to find a way. He's going to be on the relay. But are they going to put Blake on the relay? Like I'm not. I know Jamaica is weird with the way they do the selections, but is Johan Blake going to be eligible to be on the relay?
If by weird do you mean usually very successful? Is that what you mean by weird?
Well, weird is like USA does this thing where it's like top 6, that's the relay. No ifs, ands, or buts. But Jamaica is like, hey, you're fast. You false started. You're on the
Yeah,
relay.
maybe. Listen, we know Akeem Blake was going to be on the team. We think Oblique Seville is going to be on the team, correct? So I think it was going to be a battle for him to get that third spot as is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Akeem Blake and Oblique Seville, they both run 10 flat.
Mhm.
Seville does it, winning his heat. Blake does it, getting second in his heat.
To who?
But then 3 other guys, Shane Thompson, Kadrian Goldson, and Rohan Watson all run sub 10. 991, 994, 998. There's a chance. I used to look at the Jamaican 100-meter depth chart, and, after Blake and Seville, yes, you assume Johan Blake's also there. It kind of felt weak after the top 3.
Okay.
But now having these 3 guys run 991, 994, 998 on top of what we know what Seville and Akeem Blake can do, it makes making the team a lot harder, in my opinion, for Akeem and Seville. I know you're team Oblique Seville. I'm team Akeem Blake. Ride till I die. But I think both of our teams are on a little bit of, it's not a
That's fine.
foregone conclusion that both of those guys
It's
are going to
fine.
make the team.
It's fine. It's fine. You overreact to opening rounds more than anybody on planet Earth. It's incredible. You never learn your lesson. Someone can run a fast opening round. Doesn't even matter the event. Could be the 100, could be a 1500. And Gordon just falls in love or just ditches the one that he used to love. And they're stranded by the side of the road because someone pops up who he had never heard of before tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be honest. I need to probably do my research better. But I did not know Shane Thompson was out there to run 991. I did not know Kadrian Goldson was out there to run 994 and Watson to run 998. I just wasn't. So when I see that,
Okay.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold up.
I'm not worried. Blake's Seville's fine. Seville's going to make it.
Yes.
He's fine.
Seville and Blake are medal contenders. They should
Yeah.
go 1-2. But it's a lot harder to go 1-2 when there's people on your back who can run 9-9s in the first round. I'm just saying.
That is true. If you want people to be slower as opposed to faster if you're trying to beat them in a race. I agree with you there.
Like, think about this. We look at the U.S. men in the 100 as the creme de la creme. Is that the phrase? Creme de la creme?
Nailed it.
There you go.
You were not wrong.
Because they got the
on that one.
depth. They got the depth. They have guys on top of guys on top of, like, so many guys. So many dudes who can just run, who have 9.8 capabilities, and on great days, maybe a 9.7 capability.
Mm-hmm.
You look at their first round, only one guy broke 10, Coleman, running 9.95. You look at Jamaica's first round, 3 guys are doing it, and it's not, none of them are even their 3 best guys. I think that means something. That their bench is out there running faster than the USA starters.
Yeah, but now we're comparing times at 2 different meets.
What?
Do you really think 1 through 5 is better
No.
in Jamaica than the US? Okay, so what are you saying?
I'm
What
not
is the
saying
point of
that.
this?
I'm just saying that the meet that Jamaica's having right now, if things keep on progressing, and we look, 2 days from now, and we look at the final when Seville and Blake, They both run 9.8 to go 1-2, and then their third guy runs 9.90. And we're like, that's a group of 3 guys who could all medal. You
Yeah.
just,
This is good though. This is good. This is what we
yeah.
want though. Isn't this
No,
what we
yeah.
want?
Oh, 100%. This is what we want. I'm just saying it used to be a very USA owns this event, especially on the men's side.
Well, okay, yeah. And then before that, it was Jamaica owns this event, and we were always told the rivalry, the rivalry. When Bolt was around, there was no rivalry.
No.
They were crushing the U.S. all the time. They were
Yeah.
sweeping. And then guess what? When he retired, there wasn't really a rivalry. It swung in completely the other direction. Now, there was a
Yeah.
rivalry in the sense of like they want to beat each other, but that's the same with every country or every competitor who lines up. Like there wasn't this push and pull really. It was like for a bunch of years, Jamaica had it, and then a couple of years now, the U.S. has it. But that's it. So this is if you're saying they're getting closer to where the U.S. is, that's good news for people who want to see a legit rivalry. But we're still not there yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited.
Listen. I'm like
to be,
as someone who was like big in on Oblique Seville, big Oblique Seville believer. He can medal this year. I'm excited about that. We talked about how the number 2 spot is completely up for grabs. I still believe that, and hopefully it goes to Seville.
yeah. No, number 2 spot's going to Coleman.
Yeah.
Coleman's the
Is that
best
it?
one currently. Yeah, we're going to go live again tomorrow at 11 p.m. Central, right after the USA's. Rapid recap. Check out all of the interviews. We put some notable ones on our YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All the other ones are on FloTrack.com. Big shout out to our team out in Eugene, holding it down. Anderson. Yeah. We have Olivia. We got Corey. Who else we have out there?
Bobby. We got Bobby.
Bobby's out there. So
we got producer Tom tonight.
Producer Tom. We got to love
next couple nights.
Big shout out for producer Tom. Love producer Tom.
Before we go, can we go through the comments real quick? Just to check in.
They're probably all mad at me for like
no,
not
they're
knowing
not.
who Jamaica
Donovan
is.
says love to see Laird out there running well too. I agree. Let's see. Sashane says I'm worried about Elaine. I agree with Gordon for the first time. MR says FloTrack do better. I don't know what we're supposed to do better in. Could you be more specific? That would be helpful. Lambo says Seville was so easy. Man, it was crazy. See? Another civilian. Yeah, a lot of people say
have your name now? You call yourself civilians?
I took that from somebody. Someone told me that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do
I like that.
Gotta love Gordon making a fool out of himself.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Gordon can back it up. And Champ Eagle says good night, everybody. So that's a perfect way to
good night.
Log it out.
Good night here.
Hold on. David says 11 p.m. Are you sure? Shouldn't the events be over by 10 p.m. Central tomorrow? Let's check.
No.
Let's get that straightened out before we go. No, you're right. It is 10:54 Central men's 100. So we'll go live at 11, and we will have a lot.
Or maybe like 11:05 or something like that.
Yeah, we should be good. All right. Yep. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks to Tom. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Good night.
Tom, if you're talking, we can't hear you.